Hello, BookTube.
Hello, BookTube.
Well, I have a guest, as you can see. Quite a few of you are new to my channel, and those of you who are new will not recognize David Murphy. This is David Murphy.
Hello.
Who used to have a BookTube channel of his own. Probably the most famous ex-YouTuber of them all. And he has come up for a long weekend. What's the weekend on the calendar?
President's Day? Is that
What it is? He's come up for a long, affectionate President's Day weekend. And, of course, the first thing we did was go book shopping. I did a lot of other kinds of shopping, too. Actually, bouncing all around.
Yeah, we've made lots of stops unplanned. It was nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
Just a carefree afternoon of thrifting. And we got a lot of books. Did you get more than I did?
I think I might. Well, actually, it's hard to say. Mine.
Oh, look at that right on top.
Yeah.
There's no way we could start with any other book. We went to a place called the Used Book Superstore, which is a big warehouse full of books. We go to that first thing every time David visits.
Yeah, it's just part of our routine. Yeah.
And we went to a bunch of thrift shops and Savers and whatnots, Salvation Army.
Mm-hmm.
The last places on Earth that you would expect to find the first book.
The first book, I'll just take it out. Yeah. Among
Still
the
can't believe
junk I found, well, maybe consider it that. I found Hume's essays, and this is one of those Liberty Fund volumes.
He found a Liberty
great
Fund
stuff.
volume.
Yeah. And there was nothing else there really that you would expect. This was, I think, at the Savers, so it's surrounded by, Krauthammer's essays and then some other things that are just contemporary politics or were 5 years ago, and then boom, in the middle there was Hume's essays, so I grabbed them. Liberty Fund puts out great books if you're interested in Hume, Smith. The 2-volume Wealth of Nations is probably the best one you can get in terms of critical apparatus.
Is that heavily annotated?
Yeah,
I've only seen it. I've never looked.
They're really nice. Yeah. Moral sentiments, but even obscure stuff too that you want. That's sort of in the small L classical liberal tradition. Excuse me. Liberty Fund is a place to go. Definitely affordable, nice volumes. So we're starting off with Hume.
We can swap off until you just take over because you're going to have the bulk of them at the end. I found this is a second copy. I already have a mass market copy of this. A mass market of Colleen McCullough's First Man in Rome. This is the first book in her Makers of Rome series about General Marius, which when I knew that she was doing this, the famous author of the Thornbirds, I thought, okay, this could go one of two ways. You're the author of the Thornbirds, so you can do anything you want. Your publisher's not going to let you go. You could tell them you wanted to write an encyclopedia, and they'd say yes. And that's obviously what she pretty much did that. She told them she wanted to do a multi-volume fictional history of the change from Republican Rome to the early years of Julius Caesar. Her agent must have had a kitten, but this was the first book in that series. I knew of almost no historical novels about Marius, who was a fascinating figure. So I got this even though I already have a mass market paperback. I think one of the reasons why I did that is because just recently I hauled out a mass market paperback of David Brin's Startide Rising, his great science fiction novel, and I was reading it, and it cracked on me. And that's one who's never had a hardcover. This has had a big hardcover. So that made me a little leery of mass market paperbacks. I already have one of these, so I got a double. This was also on my mind because I just recently got a hardcover of Caesar, which is like 4 books after this in the series. When they'd lost this great artwork, the great cover artwork lasted for 3 covers, I think, and then became generic.
I read that out of a little free library last year.
This thing?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah. I liked it. I thought it was a little longer than it needed to be, but I liked it.
You read this?
Mm-hmm.
You never told me. Could there be trouble?
We can have a conversation off screen.
They're only dreaming about the conversations off screen. we
now we're just both canceled, and I don't have a channel anymore. So I had something completely different. Wow. This is Scott Iman's biography of Cary Grant. I read his biography of John Wayne last year, reread it, excuse me, and I love that volume. But I haven't read this. I haven't read his John Ford one, which I think came first.
This is terrific.
Good.
I didn't see that. Why don't you do another one?
Too.
I think I'm going to run out before you.
I'll do a pair, actually. A few of these go well together.
Oh my!
These are marvelous.
Son of a gun.
So I think this is just a 5-volume set. I've read the first one. I just stumbled on it, actually. I'm from Minneapolis, and there's a great used bookstore there called Majors and Quinn. And I saw the first volume sitting on a shelf. I bought it. I thought it was so good. I'm glad I got it because they look like textbooks. And then I've slowly accumulated the other volumes. But these are in a series called The History of Private Life. And I found that, what is this, the third volume?
The Renaissance.
And this is the fifth volume, it looks like. And this is Riddles of Identity in Modern Times. And these, again, they kind of look like they should be used in a classroom, and maybe they do, but they're surprisingly good reading.
Yeah, I've always thought the
happy to
packaging
find
was
these.
wrong. You can't tell on camera, but they're a little bit wider than a normal book. They do look like textbooks.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, because they don't read like textbooks.
So the Cary Grant, I mean, this is a big trade paperback, but even given that, you can see the hardcovers are bigger than that, wider than it, and about as tall. So I was happy to find hardbacks of those.
Oh, well, all right. I have a pair as well. I found a couple of Poldark novels. These were all reissued in big, heavy, solid trade paperbacks when the renewed Poldark series came out on, was it PBS or BBC? Something like that. I am dirt old, so I remember the old adaptation of Poldark, and I also read the books and didn't really like them. They struck me as... I don't want to say this about First Man in Rome. I don't want to get my half of this whole haul off to a bad start. But some historical fiction just goes on and on. It doesn't. Maybe Wolf Hall spoiled me, but some of it just goes on and on. And I want to see if I feel that again. So I got The Angry Tide and Bella Poldark. I don't remember if there were other books there. See, that is these are the new covers. They just reissued everything. That is the star of the show, quite obviously. And those of you who are those of you who've made the bad life decision to watch the Peter Jackson Hobbit movies will recognize this guy as the haughty dwarf who falls in love with an elf in the course of the movies. Which led to a great meme on social media showing a picture. He dies in the Hobbit movies. The sexy dwarf dies, and she's crying over his body. And there's a meme on social media where she's crying over his body and looking at another elf character and saying, in the movie she says, "Why does it hurt so much?" And in the meme she says, "Why does it hurt so much?" And the other character says, "Because it's not in the books." Which I really like. And then I got The Angry Tide, which, if I remember correctly, is the Poldark novel that I like the most. So I was
How
glad.
many are there?
Oh, God. 8, I think, maybe more. Oh, no, there's more. There's like 10.
There's a bunch.
So I only found 2 in this edition, so I grabbed them, and I'm perfectly happy to take my chances with just Bella Poldark. I know stands well alone, and I think The Angry Tide does too. So I know there are some Poldark fans out there. There must be. Maybe you can advise me.
Okay, I'll go on then. I'll do these two together.
You have another natural pairing. Oh
yeah,
my!
These are two
Look
Viking
at that.
portables. This
as
is
new as the day they were made.
This is the Greek. What is this? Histories? Or no, this is the portable Greek reader, and this is the Greek historians.
But look at the editors
I
involved
have
here. The
yeah,
editors are
W.H. John
incredible.
and Finley. I have the portable Greek reader at home, but it's the older version, and there's pages missing. And it's not like someone tore them out. It's around like page 270 or something like that, and then it just jumps to like 284.
Here, give them a clean look of those.
So
Look at
I'm
that.
out of practice, but yeah.
M.I. Finley. Good Lord, that's a find. They both
Yeah,
are.
and they were sitting right next to each other at the used book superstore, so couldn't say no to that.
As usual, there was that telltale moment. We're chatting as friendly as could be all the way to the door of the used book superstore, and then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. I should head to the sections I want first. And, I could swear that at one of the thrift shops that we went to, the same thing happened. We walked in the door, looked around, and I could swear I saw your posture change as you realized, oh, if this place has books, I should go looking for them. Well, I don't think I have any other pairing. I have a few more mass markets. I found this. I always grab this in mass market because it always falls apart on me. Alan Eckhart wrote a long series of historical novels set about the settling of the American West, and said all the time, these aren't really novels. There's nothing in here that didn't happen. If I tell you that a day on Wednesday was pouring rain, I guarantee you that day on Wednesday was a pouring rain. I've researched these things to hell and gone. And here he flips that coin just a bit. This he did call a work of biography. But every if a historical record says that at Fort Smith, 2 characters had heated words about this detail of an Indian treaty, he gives you that conversation as heated words rather than just telling you that. And it caused historians and biographers to poo-poo this, but it's a great reading experience. This is all about the great leader, Tecumseh, the great statesman and leader, Tecumseh. So I got 2 big, fat mass market paperbacks that I'm hoping will hold up. Should I do another one?
Yeah, maybe. 'Cause I do have more natural pairings.
More mass
so
markets.
mine
I
will go
found
fast.
a science fiction. I found this. I should not have got this. It was cheap. Everything was cheap today. I shouldn't have got this because this is the first book in Piers Anthony's Xanth series that went on forever and ever. Xanth is a fantasy world in which every character has some sort of innate magic. Xanth is also a fairly recognizable fantasy map.
Looks like Florida.
Yeah, it just kind of does look like Florida. I read this when it first came out. I think it came out like this. Some of you who are more knowledgeable can let me know, but I don't think this ever had a hardcover release. Or if it did, it was straight to book clubs and libraries. I saw it as this, back when, oh my God, when was this? 1977. And I thought, this is pretty good, but it's one note. This was fun. I remember thinking when I read it, right after the bicentennial, this is fun. It'll be great to see what he does next. Little did I know that the next 30 things he did were going to be Xanth novels. You can't do that with a one-note premise. And yet, yet he did. I found another piece of science fiction as well. Where is it? The only thing I was actually looking for, because this isn't... Oh, yes, this, of course. I think I've mentioned a few times, the Dragonbone Chair. So I now have a beaten-up mass-market paperback of this. This does not absolve the rest of you of your duty to get me a paperback of this. This thing is not going to survive.
I should have brought mine. I have a copy, and I'm not reading it.
What does it look like?
It's,
does yours have this?
It has the...
Or does it have
inlet,
the fold-out
yeah.
cover? The fold-out cover has a wolf on it, and then you open it to this scene.
Yeah, that's the one that I have.
And I had that forever and ever. I thought sure that I had that here, but I've looked. I'll have you look, just in case I missed it, but I did not see it. And there was a trade paperback that had this artwork. There's the wolf. Had this artwork on the trade paperback. But I found this. This will do. This will do for now. It'll grease the wheels. And there were... Let me do the rest of my mass markets, and you can charge on. Because I found a murder mystery, because next month is March Mystery Madness. I found Patricia Moyes. I have all of Patricia Moyes, but I think I do. But I was happy to grab this. I remember when these things were in bookstores, the same design. They all looked like that. And this thing, Colleen Shannon, The Tender Devil. This is a vintage romance. This is probably from the 1980s, judging by the hair. 1987. And of Sarah at the Bookish Knitter is reading a whole bunch of vintage romance, and if you don't do it along with her, well, she could put a hex on you of some kind or other. I've never read this. Pretty sure I've never read this author. Always up for a romance. So
sounds like a stage name, The Tender Devil.
Fire away.
I'm gonna keep going here with
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, well, this is Ellis
nice.
Peters. Yeah, this is a one-off mystery. I have read tons of these, and I have a bunch at home.
Show it to the
20-some
camera instead of
of
waving
them.
it
This
around.
is, what is this? The
Virgin of the Ice, one of
What
my
number
favorite
is it?
ones.
It's 3 or something?
It'll say on
I
the
thought
cover.
they were
but
marked, yeah.
the 6th.
Oh, the 6th, yeah.
This is Brother Cadfile.
Yeah, yes. And I love them, so I was glad to have that one. There is, come to think of it, also in Minneapolis, a used bookstore, and it has new books too, called Once Upon a Crime, and it's explicitly a mystery
Lots of
bookstore.
mass
So
market
if you
paperbacks?
like, yeah,
Oh,
that's where I got initially tons of Ellis Peters. I just cleared them out.
The Cadfile books are so good.
And if you ever go to that bookstore, they have a secret back room. And so you can take, and if you go back there, they have special editions and things like that. And then they also have just ordinary used books back there as well. But it's just a used mystery bookstore specifically. It's really, really good.
Cadfile was a warrior. He went on crusade and decided for his sins to become a peaceful Benedictine apothecary, mixing herbs and tending gardens. And that's what he is when he solves all these mysteries. But every once in a while, it doesn't happen in The Virgin and the Ice, but every once in a while, some of the people around him are forced to be reminded that he's not an old man. He's a seasoned soldier. He's not someone to cross. But the version of ice is so good. They
Is it?
find the dead body just looking up out of the ice. Have to figure out what's going on. It's one of my favorites. But go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I know what.
Let's
There's
do
some
the
that are coming that are
Oxfords.
so
Yeah.
good. These are so tempting.
So
Look
here
at
I have some
that.
trollops. Yeah. 2 of these I don't have. One of them I do have. These are the old Oxford World Classics trollops. So I have Dr. Thorne. And then He Knew He Was Right, which I've read. And I've read this novel twice, actually. And I really like it. And then finally, The Prime Minister.
One of my favorites.
And this one I haven't read. And in He Knew He Was Right, and we were talking about this at the bookstore and several others, I have the newer releases of the trollops. And I don't like those as much, in, like we said, comparing the notes.
Have you ever read The Prime Minister?
No, I haven't. No.
There's a scene at the end that you're gonna love. Even if you don't agree with it, you're gonna love it because the Prime Minister in question has a feckless son, and at the end of the book, he has to try and haltingly explain his politics to his son.
Oh.
It's totally useless. The son is useless, but he has to do it anyway. But Dr. Thorne has a great trollop moment where this louse of a guy has deeply offended another character right at the beginning of the book. And the other character doesn't know it. The louse doesn't know that he's offended the other guy, who's now furious and armed, looking for this guy. And they meet each other, and the louse says, "What's in the wind?" And is completely killed. He's instantly murdered.
Okay, maybe I'll have to read that one next. Well, aren't you doing a read-along of
I'm doing a read-along of the one book I couldn't find today. I'm doing a read-along of Mr. Scarborough's Family, which is also incredible. It's a lot like the Eustace Diamonds in that 3/4 of the way through, you're sure that the book has run out of twists, and then there's another twist. One that you kind of knew that the possibility was out there, but you're telling yourself the whole time, there's just no way. There's just no way. And then it happens. So it's going to be a lot of fun to read. But I want to read The Prime Minister out loud as well. I love it too much to do that. But you found other Oxfords, which I did not see.
Yeah, I got 2 Henry James.
look
I
at
got
these.
The Europeans, and I got The Golden Bowl. I have not read any Henry James at all, and I've been meaning to. So,
Who is the... Didn't Henry James have a famous... Well, no, they're famous editors, but not famous writers. Those Oxford editions are great. I would probably have been tempted with the Henry James if I'd seen
and I've been meaning to get to him for a while. So,
what have we got here? Well, speaking of BookTube events, there's Roger's Cheap Old Book Club, the cheapest book club online because all the books are free. You can get them free from Project Gutenberg. One of the ones coming up in Roger's Cheap Old Book Club is Howard Pyle, The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood, which you can get for free. But we were at the used book superstore, and I was just shopping around, and I thought, I bet the kids section would have a copy of that. And this has both. It has his book on King Arthur and his book on Robin Hood with the original illustrations all throughout. So, I don't know that... I haven't checked. But I don't know that the Project Gutenberg thing that you can download for free will have those color pictures. And it won't be the same. I didn't have this volume a million years ago when I had this book. I didn't have this volume, but I had something very much like it. And it had these illustrations. So the minute I saw that in Roger's roster, I knew that I wanted to have a print copy of the book and didn't. So better this than a paperback.
I have 2 left.
Oh, let me go on. Oh, I've gone way ahead then. I found this. This is an anthology of short fiction interladed with all sorts of historical and biographical information about the Iowa Writers Workshop in Iowa City. So this will start off with some really big names. The workshop was drawing in really big names right from the start. I had this as a hardcover forever and ever. I completely forgot that it came out as a trade paperback. Now, is it... let me just briefly check. The newspaper's quoted on the back. I'm sure that most of the people who blurbed this came out of the workshop and did so. The whole idea of the workshop is you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. I didn't really want this as a hardcover, and also the hardcover is poorly made. It's one of those things where the backing breaks off from the text block with no provocation at all. Whereas this trade paperback is a little sturdier, and it is an anthology I obviously want. I have spent a great deal of time in Iowa City. I have spent a great deal of time in EPB. any of you Iowa Cityans out there know EPB? That building. I spent a great deal of time in that modernist monstrosity. Then I found this. Oh my God. One of the finds of the day. The Pope Odyssey, which would be great anyway, the Alexander Pope's translation of the Odyssey. But this has, I don't know if you're going to be able to make this out, but I couldn't believe it when I saw it. This has the John Flaxman illustration. These gorgeous illustrations that were original. It's just amazing to find this at all, much less to find it with those illustrations. When I looked at the cover, I thought, okay, that's a Flaxman cover of Ulysses stringing his bow in order to kill the suitors. And they must have paid a pretty penny for the copyright to use that on the cover, but the book won't have any other illustrations. But this is amazing. It is amazing. I'm pretty sure that the happy serendipity of finding this has bumped this to the head of the line as being the edition that I read in August. I read the Odyssey every August. I wasn't planning on doing Pope, but I think I will. Then I found a New Yorker collection. I love New Yorker cartoons. I think they're wonderful. I think they're a world of their own. And often, if I see a collection by a New Yorker artist, I will get it. And I found Peter Arnos had quite a few. He's a famous New Yorker cartoonist. And I found this one. Sizzling Platter is the name. And, of course, your attention and her attention is drawn to the sizzling platter. I don't think that's what he's looking at. I think there's something else on the table that is attracting his attention. But these are just full-page cartoons, and I love them. Absolutely love them. Oh, no. The washing machine already got people. People are already commenting on it the last time because of how loud it is. I'm afraid that's the washing machine again. Sorry. These are the harmless relics of a bygone era. The New Yorker would never publish a cartoon like this.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And the back cartoon is the exact same thing. She's sitting reading, and he is trying to look down at the same territory, even though it's on TV.
Maybe in the Rejection Collection.
The Rejection
How they do
Collection.
That's a wonderful volume.
Those are great. Those 2 volumes called the Rejection Collection that are fantastic. But this is a nice old thing. The used book superstore has a section for older books. It's the only place in the store that reminds me of the Brattle, so I gravitated towards it. This is a little rough shape, but I can fix it up.
I love when you can find old cheap copies like that, and then you can cut them out and hang them on the walls and stuff.
Very sorry about
okay,
the dryer.
I
It'll
have
calm down
2
in a
left.
minute, I promise. Oh no, you're
this
kidding
is
me.
a hardcover of the Reagan Diaries. This
Stop weaving it around.
Satan to
Look
half
at
your
that.
viewers anyway. This is the first big book I remember ever reading. I read this when I was in middle school.
You're kidding.
I used to carry around the paperback in my backpack, and I literally had to use duct tape to hold it together and stuff. Very different reading experience as an adult too, and as someone who keeps a journal now. Whatever you think of Reagan, he was a very natural diary keeper. This is fascinating reading.
I wrote a long piece on it. If you remind me, I'll link it down below. I called it President Peeps.
Yeah,
I wrote a long piece on the Reagan Diaries that I really liked. I really liked the way it came out. I think it was for the old Open Letters Monthly. I don't think nobody else would let me title it. It must have been for the old Open Letters Monthly, so it would be 2,000 words. I'll try to remember. You can remind me.
Or I'll find it, yeah.
Nobody knows more about my published work than David Murphy does. I found this. Oh, I'm so self-conscious of that. Everybody commented on the.
Oh, I already started tuning it out.
It still works. It's not a danger. Everybody has been making comments on how loud it was the last time it did this.
Was it on a live stream or was it?
It was on I think it was in a video, and it's doing the same thing. I didn't even realize. Everything here is old, except maybe actually not. No, actually he's older
Might
than
be the
anything
oldest thing here. Yeah.
I found the Modern Library of the Way We Live Now, so I also got Trollope. This has an introduction. I didn't know if you saw this by David Brooks. How
What?
gruesome is
David
that
Brooks?
gonna be?
Really?
David Brooks' introduction to Trollope. Can you imagine?
No, I actually can't. I didn't know he read Trollope.
Well, I can imagine it, but I can picture the worst. Maybe he'll surprise me.
Yeah.
This is a great Trollope novel. I absolutely love it. It is number
Trollope
one.
is John Penhort's favorite author. I'm surprised they can. Yeah.
God, do they actually read him though?
He does.
Yeah. I also found another Modern Library, and I'm glad that I found this. I love the cover of this. This is strictly a cover by. This is Our Mutual Friend. Look at that pile of old coins there. If you know the book, you'll know the gist of that cover. This is a great big thing. It's a really pretty edition in Penguin Classics as well, but I'm glad I have this too. I had this edition, this cover, and somebody came to visit and just wanted it, so they took it. So I have it again. I got 2 of these, and this thing's in perfect condition. It's like the day it was born. You want to finish up?
Yeah, I got one left. It's H.L. Mencken. This is a second Mencken Crestomathy by H.L. Mencken. Or, I'm sorry, I meant to say with Terry Teachout's introduction. Terry Teachout wrote a really good biography of H.L. Mencken. I like all of the biographies that Teachout did.
Teachout's great.
Great,
Absolutely great.
I wish there was a nice collection of his writing, actually.
I don't know of one. If you do, feel free to sing out in the comments. I don't know of one. There should be.
And he just died a couple years ago, so that'd be great.
A letter collection. We never get letter collections anymore, but it'd be great to have one. And also his diaries. It'd be great to have.
I didn't know he kept them. Oh. I think I have almost all of Mencken just between odd volumes like this. And I like him, I think, a lot more than you do.
You got a big Mencken the last time you were here.
Yes, I did. Yep.
Yep. And I also got the Reagan Diaries. And that the Reagan Diaries is an origin story for you.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. When did it come out? Do I want to know? You were in middle school when it came out. I probably don't want to know. I was so happy that the publisher contacted me.
2007.
So Open Letters Monthly would have been 1 year old.
So I probably read it around 2007. Probably, yeah.
Well, I don't have. I found this thing, a trade paperback of The Widows of Malabar Hill. I really like this, Sujata Massey. I really like this. I liked her last mystery series, the one before this. There were a few of those at the used book superstore, but I saw this. It was dirt cheap, and I think this was like $1 or $2. And I really enjoyed this when it came out. Not sure that I wrote about it, but I definitely put it on that year's list. Actually, let's... I'm so egotistical that I'm thinking if I wrote about it, it will surely be blurbed on the book. Yeah, this was $1, so I didn't have it, and I grabbed it. I don't have it as an ebook. And then finally, another romance novel. This is Dolores Fawson, who I have read, Cowboying Up, because it's never a bad time to get a romance novel, especially if they're dirt cheap. I will probably get more romance novels the next time we go use book shopping. Of course, that could be a year from now. You never know. It's just possible that we will shop for books tomorrow.
I'd like to point out that I didn't get one World War II book.
Did you see on Instagram? We've been posting some pictures on Instagram.
Sort of
You've
why I'm
already
pointing
been
it out.
ribbed. He's already got some ribbing, because ordinarily he just goes to the World War II section and says, "I'll take them all."
But I already had them all, so I did.
Maybe it is weird. It is weird to see him holding up one Anthony Trollope novel after another with no
There's
World
a lot
War
of
II
fiction
stuff.
in here.
Yeah, that's weird. We'll see if we can fix that tomorrow, and we'll tell you all about it when we return. Now it's time to eat, and I don't know, maybe a little drinking, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
A thimble here and there.
If we get the yen. I don't know.
Anyway, we'll be back.
Thanks, BookTube.
Thank you, BookTube.